Hi, Rich from Mustangs to Fear. Today we're going to show you how to install our MTF mini tubs. Now we're going to show you the difference between them and what we did different compared to what else is out there. Basically what we did is we took ours, and ours is a complete 90. And if you look at how the factories was, and even really these aftermarket ones, they have a rounded radius in there. Well, that's where you need to open that up and get that squared up so you can get more tire in there. So the other advantage to this is with our tubs, you don't have to modify your interior at all. You're not going to have to cut your seat down. You're not going to have to make custom rear lower interior panels. These will go into the maximum up to the frame rails without any of those modifications. So we're going to show you how we're doing it right now. Okay, the first thing I like to do is cut this along this edge right here. I leave at least about 3/4 to an inch on there. And the factory will have a step off on it. So basically what I'm doing, I'm just cutting right on the edge of that step off. Now, sometimes these tubs can go up on top, sometimes they can go underneath. If you look at this, you got a really nice step off right here. So on this particular application, the tub is actually going to go underneath. We tried putting it in from the top side, but we would have had to cut more of the structure out back there, and it really wasn't necessary. It actually just fit up on the underside really nice. So just kind of keep in mind, depending on the make and model that you have, sometimes it'll fit better on top, sometimes it fits underneath better. So it really doesn't make any difference. But first thing we'll do is actually, after we get this thing cut off, you want to cut all your brackets off. If you're putting a new floor in, leave these brackets off last. There's two brackets that you're going to leave off last. It's going to be this bracket, and it's the other bracket that ties into your interior piece. So leave those off. It does make it more difficult to get them in and out because you're going to be test fitting it. The next thing we actually do is get a straight line all the way down through here. Now you're going to be wider here in the front than you are in the back. If we step around the back, I'll show you the first thing I do in the back after I've made my cut through here and I've drilled all my spot wells out from the factory parts. So we'll step around the back. Okay, next what I do is, this is a really rounded radius and it's going to come clear into here. So you've got a lot of material that you're going to have to cut out. So I just take a square, give me a general idea of where I want to be. I've got it on the panel right here, and then I'll draw a straight line, and then I'll bring another line back up this way, and I'll bring this down, and now I'm going to have a 90. Now, don't try to overcut. It's always better to leave a little extra and just keep grinding back as you go along until you get the fit to where you want. So that's what I'll do next. I'll just get that cut out, and then next I'll usually run a piece of tape, 3/4 inch tape, from back here clear up to the front and give me a straight line, and then from that point I'm actually going to take a grinder and I'm going to grind all that metal completely straight off. So let's go back around the other side. Next, this is the pre-bent metal that we give with this kit. Now this is just a small sample, it's just easier to handle. And this part's actually going to go down here this way. And then you're going to punch holes basically all the way through this and then plug weld it, as you can see how I've done right here. So what you're going to wind up doing is you're going to be pulling that tub, in and out several times, because you want to get this thing back as far as you possibly can. And that's what I was trying to do here, is take it to the absolute max to where I didn't interfere with these brackets or this right here. Now, I'll show you how tight I've actually got this on this side. I'll slip this panel in here. Now you can see I'm right back to where the factory had this bracket. Okay, so now this tub's completely installed. It's not completely welded in. We'll have to take it back out again to punch some holes in it. But you can see how far we've got this tub clear into this interior. And this is usually what gets guys in trouble putting these tubs in. They actually put the tubs in, and then they go to put their interior in, and they find out there's a problem. And then they wind up narrowing the seat down. So it depends. If you want to go really, really big, and you want to put 335s, well then these tubs aren't going to work for you. That's too much. You're going to wind up split your seat down the middle, and you're going to wind up notching these out and either putting carpet or vinyl or something, or have all new interior made, one of the two. But with this design right here, this is a 65, and 65/6 usually has the smallest tire you can put on it. 7/8 steps it up a little bit more, and then 69/70 is your biggest. But on this car right here, with just what we're doing with no modifications whatsoever, we could easily put two 75s in it, which is a good size tire for a 65/6. If we want to flare the wheel wells out a little bit, gain another inch, we can. Actually, on this particular build, we're probably going to be running 285s on this one. So, but this is for the average guy that doesn't want to get into a lot of complicated modifications. So it's a very simple install. Now we'll go back over on this side and I'll show you a few more things. Okay, now we'll show you just how much we've trimmed back on this. If you get a good close-up shot right here, you'll see this is actually flush. This piece that I've welded in is flush, and I got into the frame rail just a smidgen, but the lip is completely gone, and then it tapers and gets a little wider. So you can see that's perfectly even. So that's the absolute max that you're going to go without causing a lot of problems. Okay, now if you see up here in the front, I've got, like I say, I have this to the max, and I'm running about 2.5 inches from here. So that's a pretty good guideline. But what I did, like I said, is I put masking tape on this, and I made sure this edge was perfectly straight and true all the way down. Then I kept test fitting the tub several times and just seeing how much more I could take it in, and then double checking my brackets in here, because we don't want to go past that. If we do that, then we've got a problem. So, and then we've pre-punched holes all the way around on the tub, and we'll be ready to plug weld that up in there. And then once it's in here, we'll do some stitch welding actually through some of these other areas here, and then stitch welding across in here. Okay, this tub's ready to go back in for the final time. We've got this pre-punched all the way around here, and that's where we're going to plug weld it. And like I said before, once it's up in there, then there'll be some additional stitch welding. We've trimmed everything the way we want it to fit, and you can notch these out differently. I cut a lot of this off because normally this thing goes straight across, but otherwise it would be hanging down. So I wanted a little cleaner look, so that's going to be even. And the thing that I did different on this one than the other ones that we've done in the past is I've actually cut this up quite a bit. This would normally hang down probably about midway into the rail. So what I've done was I've cut this out. So this is actually going to follow this edge right up here. So I'm going to have a lot of frame showing there, and I just thought aesthetic wise it would look a lot better than having this tub hang clear down into here. So that's the only thing else that I did different, was I just trimmed that off, so I think it'll look better. Okay, now we're going to go with the brackets. After you remove the factory brackets, keep in mind 65/6 only has one on the passenger side. 67 to 70, they have them on both sides. You won't be able to use the factory bracket because the way our tubs are designed, we don't have the rounded radius. So we furnish you with these, and they are marked left and right. So your tall side goes to the back, short side goes to the front. Okay, once you've got the panel on and everything else is pretty much where you want it, then you're going to put a mark on here. Just take your Sharpie, put your center line exactly where these holes are at, and that's the center point. Then you're going to take your panel back off, and you're going to center this. You run your line out and get your center on it, and you're going to put this in. And then your latch is actually going to set back on top of this. So you will cut this out and drop this down. And this is going to vary. You're going to know that when you put your panel back up and you bolt this back onto this piece right here. That's going to tell you exactly how far up and down that you need to move this bracket. This bracket right here, you want to make sure this bracket is the last bracket that you put on. We've taken ours out after we put it in, and it's a little difficult, so it's going to be a little bit of a hindrance. So make sure this is your very last bracket that you install after everything's done. Now, cut your brackets up here naturally, your factory brackets, and you can cut those even if you want. In this case here, I just decided to make my own, which has made it a little bit easier, just with some 90, and then use a shrinker stretcher, and then I'll weld that back up in there, and that'll be just the way I want it, just like that. And really that's just about all there is to it. So if you guys ever have any questions or anything, you can email us, text us, call us, and we'll walk you right through it. So thanks for watching the video.